first of all, Scorpio, let me say, my hands started to get so clammy when I started to shuffle. And like before I could even say like 3 words into like my invocation that I do, like cards just started falling, like just throwing everywhere. Like, so I think you guys got a lot going on now, and maybe you're a little nervous because a lot of change is happening. You're a fixed sign, right? And there's this clamminess that's coming. It's mostly on my left hand, honestly, which is weird. So I think spiritually you're nervous, right? Your spirit is kind of nervous, and I think it's because you know great change is coming. We have the King of Cups with the 10 of Swords. Ooh, and behind that, the 10 of Cups. So Virgo had these 2 cards pop out in the beginning, the 10 of Swords and the 10 of Cups. And so I think similar to Virgo, I think that you guys are really ending a way of identifying with your emotions. The way emotions maybe rule your decisions. And not that Scorpio is so emotional that they're irrational. I'm definitely not saying that. You guys know I'm a Scorpio moon, and I know that we're very, we're very sure of ourselves. But there's a level of maturity with the King of Cups. Now, the King of Cups traditionally would be a Pisces, not a Scorpio. But this is not a love reading. This is a spiritual path and career reading. And I'm really, really feeling like there's this end to anything. I'm like shaking right now. So there's like this end to anything that was preventing you from really embodying that full, wise, emotional knowing. Like in any way, if you were being, right, Scorpio can be very cut and dry, right? It's very black or white. Like you're in or you're out, and that's it. But like love doesn't always work that way, right? Love is a concept, right? Love as a word, you know, love is all encompassing. If we're going to get Pisces on it, right? Love is fluid. Love does not have boundaries. We determine the boundaries in our relationships, but love itself sees no boundaries. And I think in a lot of ways, you're finding new ways, like I said, new ways to identify with how you feel. Because I think that you're done being in this dark place, right? Letting darkness control you and control your mind. And also, I think that you're done feeling defeated. And again, I think for those of you that have been maybe talking to a wall, so to speak, I think that you're done doing that as well, right? I think you're ready to bring the fire. And I think you're ready for something that is a lot more inspiring. And sometimes being how we are, right? Being like, this is it. This is my answer. Like I have definitive yes and no's on what I tolerate and what I don't tolerate. And there's nothing wrong with having boundaries. That's not what I'm saying. But when you have such strict boundaries that you can't let new in, you can't let new passion in, you can't let new ways of identifying, this feels like breathing life into something. Right? And then renegotiating with yourself your boundaries or with the people around you. Yeah, renegotiating your boundaries and the things that you believe in. Because it's an end of a pattern of the way that you've identified with your emotions. And then you're now allowing new, it's like, you know how fire burns everything in its wake. So it's like the fire burned more space, right? Burned more space around you. And therefore, you had to put up a new fence, right? So let's say your fence was like right here before and you stood in the middle. Now it burned the excess and your fence is out here. So you're asserting new boundaries and telling people what is crossing the line and what is not. And it's not that you're distancing people from yourself. I don't feel that at all. I just think that there are situations and things that you're done dealing with and done because you've achieved a new level of understanding within yourself. And this doesn't feel like revengey or anything like that. It's just like, you know what? I know my worth. And I know what feels good to me. I know what doesn't feel good to me. And I love you and or I respect you, but like I am here and you are there. You know, that type of thing. Especially in the workplace. you know, whether it be coworkers or bosses, like I think that you're done letting people shit on you. Not that Scorpio really allows that, but you know what I mean? Like sometimes we're so dedicated, we just like kind of, we might say, you know, but a lot of times we don't say anything. We just wait till it festers. So don't do that. All right, Scorpio. So I'm going to be honest. When I was pulling these cards over here, the Three of Wands came up first, and then the Three of Swords came up, and I was pissed. I was like, no, like, I don't, no. Because I love this reading, and the message was so clear, and I was like, but why? Like, why is this? You know, like, no, we don't want to feel sad. And then I shuffled again, and I got the Tower. So, okay. So, there's this theme here. There's definitely other people involved in what we're talking about here today, Scorpio. However, if there's a romantic connotation here, it's for those of you that are married, right, or have built a family. For the rest of you, I think this is very much about your family members, like your mother in particular. Mothers are definitely up here, especially if your mother is a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, okay? And for a lot of you, there's this message, right? It's like so clear that like you'll have a better relationship with your mother if you move away from her. Like there's this huge theme here about moving and a life transition. And for those of you that are mothers, I think that again you are trying to move your family, and maybe you know what I mean. You're worried that it won't happen because you're moving away from the rest of your family, your extended family. But basically, the overall theme here this month, Scorpio, is like you're afraid. This is exactly what I was talking about in the beginning. You're afraid that if you assert your truth with the people you love, right? If you really set up strong boundaries with the people you love, they'll leave you. Because again, Scorpio is very fierce and very cut and dry, but when it comes to those people that are very close to their heart, they can be blindly loyal and take a lot of shit. Now, they may put up a fuss once in a blue, but in general, they take a lot of shit from people that they love. So I really see a resurgence in your boundaries, because all these cards right here are yellow, right? Solar plexus. All these cards right here are about your personal boundaries. And the overall energy this month is the Six of Swords. Yes, the Ten of Cups is right behind it, right? So we have the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is a necessary move, right? So it's not something that's easy, but it's something that has to happen. And a lot of times we aren't fully like mentally prepared for it. Again, it just happens, right? We have the Tower here in the outcome, right? The end of September. And the Six of Swords is sometimes, with the Tower here, it could be an abrupt change. But I think a lot of you have been wanting change. You've been wanting to move houses. You've been wanting to move out. You've been wanting to, you could even change jobs or just change, like move on. There's this feeling of like move on already. I think you've been waiting for this change for a long time. But based on what I have here in the foundation, Five of Cups coupled with the Sun, they came out together. It's like you feel guilty for being happy because you might be leaving somebody behind. Or your happiness is bittersweet. Like there's some type of fear. Like even though you've been wanting this new change and this new beginning and this moving on so badly, there's like sadness accompanied with it, because it's almost as if you've never allowed yourself to really fully be happy before, because you've always considered another person in your happiness. And a lot of the things that you do for yourself, or rather to be happy, and the things that you do that seem to be for yourself are really for other people. And the thought of really just doing you for the sake of doing you is like, what? So in the what we need to leave behind position, we have the King of Wands with the rune Love and the Hierophant. So some of you may be married to a fire sign, right? But in general, I think this is any fire sign that you're committed to that you love, and that could be any type of person. It doesn't have to be a fire sign. It could be somebody that's very independent. And when someone has this much power, they can overshadow other people, especially very emotional people like you, Scorpio. So there's this need to leave behind. I'm really feeling like a commitment to someone, like. And it's not that you're not going to love them anymore. It's just like you're changing the way you show them love. So you're changing the bond and you're changing the commitment. And you're doing it for you. You're doing it because you deserve to move on. You deserve to change your life. You deserve to change the way that you think about what is home and what is happiness and what is a happy family, right? But again, there's this guilt because Hierophant talked about tradition. So maybe what you're doing is not traditional, especially if it deals with your family, right? 10 of Pentacles. You're doing something that maybe nobody else in your family has ever done, and it goes against what the matriarch or patriarch wants for you. And for a lot of your life, I think maybe you've had to either they made it conscious, subconscious, or unconscious. I think on some level, you have felt duty to your parents, right, or to one of your parents, and you very much lived your life in a certain type of way, again, consciously or unconsciously, to serve them. So as much as you want this new beginning, there's this guilt, right? There's this guilt coming up for you choosing yourself. And it's like this realization of like, wow, like, I'm really about to live my life for me. I'm about to wake up every day and like not have this person in the house or nearby telling me, because some of you may be moving at a far distance, like, states or countries, over water. Some of you buy the water. Either you're moving there or the other person's moving there, or you're both moving, okay? But overall, there's this theme of change. And it's something that I think that you've asked for, Scorpio, but I think now that it's becoming real, you weren't ready for the emotional toll that it's taking on you, and I think it's kind of throwing you off kilter. The door that's now open for you that was once closed, we have the Four of Wands, clarified by the Magician, with the Rune Journey. So this is beautiful, and this is why I was really pissed to see the Three of Wands with the Three of Swords originally, and I reshuffled. Because the Four of Wands, I mean, this talks about home, right? At least home and a feeling, right? But it also talks about being supported. And with the Magician here, it means that you have the power to create whatever home or community of support you wish while you walk this journey. And just because you're stepping out of the family home or maybe out of your family's good graces, so to speak, like a lot of us have fear if we assert ourselves and our power and our truth that our family will abandon us because we believe different things than our parents or our grandparents or whatever. But our fear is always worse than the reality. And it only gets worse the longer we wait and the longer we push off our own personal needs. So know that you have the power, right? The Magician has the infinity symbol over his head. You have the power to create whatever kind of life, home, community, experience, spiritual knowing on this path that you desire. And if you choose to feel guilty for that, nobody's going to absolve you. If you're waiting for your parents or you're waiting for, someone else that you admire and look up to or someone that raised you to like give you that okay and that like 5-star stamp of approval, you're going to be mad. And I say that because like I used to wait for one of my parents' approval, or really both, but in different ways. I have both of their approval now with what I do, and I still struggle with unconsciously feeling like I need to serve them in some way. Okay, because we all have childhood programming. Our parents do the best they can, but they program us, and that's just reality. You know what I mean? That's why we do this work. So know that no one has power over your life. And if they do have power over your life, it's because you granted it to them. Okay? And anyone that needs to wield power over you to love you is loving from a place of condition. And especially if this is parental, because I really feel like this is familial and parental. I'm sorry I keep saying parents, because I'm sure a lot of you you know, have not lived with your parents for a really long time. And that doesn't even mean to be the case. It could be like you live nearby and now you're moving far. Or your parents are going to go retire somewhere. You want to retire somewhere away from your elderly parents. Things like that. Okay, it's that kind of feeling. And this could be a boss, a commitment you made to a boss and you've been there for a really long time and you love the person. But you just want to build something else for yourself. You just want, maybe you're ready to retire and you feel guilty about stepping into this new role. Don't feel guilty. You know what I mean? Don't feel guilty, because that's not because you don't deserve it. That's because you have some type of belief that you have to self-sacrifice or do things for others in order to feel worthy, right? Your energy for this month, Scorpio. In your head, you have the 10 of Pentacles. In your heart, we have the 7 of Swords with the rune Joy. This is so interesting. And again, in your foundation, you have the 5 of Cups conjoined with the Sun. So I already talked about the center a little bit in the base, right? 5 of Cups, feeling disappointed. Feeling disappointed, and again, I'm feeling ashamed. Feeling ashamed of you being happy, or you being afraid that if you change the way that you have identified with your happiness or with a home or with a parent or with your family, that you will, again, not be accepted. And some of you are disappointed that your family's not like happy for you, right? And it's important to remember that everyone changes on their own time. And it's not that they're not actually happy for you. It's just because watching you pursue your best life, watching you pursue your dreams, reminds them that they did not do that. So anyone that is like mad about your happiness or making you feel guilty about being happy is just mad that they didn't do that for themselves. So do not take their anger personally, okay? They are upset that they have sold their life short. Okay, know that. And with the 7 of Swords in your heart, again, with the rune Joy, right? So it's like, why? It's like, because you have 10 of Pentacles, right? The family card, the multiple generations family card. I'm feeling like this is like some type of rhetoric or way of identifying with family and what you do when it's family. Like this duty, this sense of duty. This sense of commitment you have to your family is draining your happiness. And again, it may seem like they're doing it to you, but ultimately it's your guilt for choosing yourself that's making you feel drained. Because with the 7 of Swords in your heart, I don't think anyone's deceiving you and literally stripping your joy. It could be your mother, right? It could be your mother that stripped your joy. Or again, you're feeling that your joy is stripped because you're moving away from your mother, or you feel guilty that she's going to be by herself or whatever. I really feel strongly that a lot of you, this has to do with a mother. But know that anyone that's making you feel guilty are bad for the choices that you're making is just pissed that they didn't choose themselves sooner. Or they're mad that you can't serve them anymore, but that's not your problem. You decide the boundaries on your love, nobody else, okay? So don't let somebody, again, make you feel guilty for the way that you love, the way that you express things, the way that you go about pursuing your life. Spirit's advice. Again, we have the Empress with the rune Victory. And we have the Chariot, which doubles down the message of victory, and that's the clarifier. So I think for some of you, it's straight up saying, like, you will be victorious in moving away from your mother, or if you are a mother, I think you will be victorious in moving your family. Also, I think that moving forward from this scenario that you've been in, potentially with your mother, or again, with the mother of your child, or with someone who's mothered you, right? But I do feel a strong fire sign energy here. It's like it's better for you both to be at a distance. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. And I also think that you will come into your Empress energy in the highest octave when you move away from this You know, this could also be not your actual family's values. This could also just be your way of perceiving what a family is supposed to look like and what you're supposed to, like, oh, when I move out of my parents' house, you know, this is an example. When I move out of my parents' house, I'm going to move in with somebody that I'm going to marry. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. You also may be highly considering, like, all the moves you're making, right? The moves that you're making that are going to bring you joy and a sense of wholeness are based on finances and you not wanting to have a leak in the ship, so to speak. I think for those of you too that are trying to build something with a Cancer, I think that definitely could be successful. And now, if that message applies to you, as far as the King of Wands goes, I think that it's important to remember that if you create a bond with somebody, especially if you decide to move in and build a home together, right? This journey of building a home together. Because you don't have to be married to do that, right? Because we have letting go of traditional commitments here, right? Letting go of a selfish commitment to love. This really feels like a stubbornness here, like of a very, like, I'm on my own path, I'm going to do my own thing. And when you decide to cohabitate with somebody, yes, you have to be very much on the same page. And I think that you can and will be victorious in that. But I think it's really important to remember not to be fixated on whether or not what you're doing is right or if people are going to approve of it or whatever. I'm feeling very strongly that if you wait for approval on these moves you're making, if you're waiting for somebody to co-sign you, you're not gonna. I think that's what this Tower is really about. Because Cancer is a hesitant energy, but it's also a very it goes the distance, right? Because the Cancer energy, as it gets more comfortable, and it takes its time. Trust, it takes its time. But as it unfolds, once it gets to that place of comfortability, it is so generous. It is so generous. But it requires knowing yourself, right? And it requires cooperation. So to really create the life that you want and step into this very abundant, powerful position and be victorious in building a new home and in being financially secure, and there's 2 4s here, right? You need to not beat yourself up, and you need to know that this path that you're on is only yours. It's only yours, and nobody can give you the answers. And there's a need to not be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Because there are no mistakes, there's only lessons learned. And I think a lot of you have built up enough money. Like, I think Scorpio is pretty logical in the sense that they're not going to get into something that they can't afford. So don't worry about that. Okay? Don't say, oh, what if I sign a lease with this person and then, they drop the ball and I can't, I can't afford the monthly rent. Like, you can't worry about that in advance. You don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not saying make an irrational decision. Just know that, Mercury's in retrograde to the 5th. I signed my last lease during Mercury retrograde, and I just read the contract very, very acutely, very with like discernment, and I just had them change a few things, and they had no problem changing them because they had like copied and pasted it from like a random website, so they didn't even know what it said. So I just had them clarify it. So that's all you got to do. You just got to be very, particular. But you will successfully move if that's what you want. You will successfully bring about this opportunity to advance yourself and your life. But know that at least for now, at least in the month of September, you're not going to hear that support. Okay? And if you allow it, people will, like, piss on your party, so to speak, okay? And in the outcome, we have dun, the Tower with the Ruined Future and the Four of Swords. Now I'm going to get a clarifier for the Tower, but with the Tower in the outcome with the Future rune, I'm honestly feeling this is more auspicious than not. Like, more auspicious than it is, like, damaging. Because it's like, oh, remember that life you thought you were going to have? Like, you've been thinking about it and thinking about it and planning about it and planning about it for months. Surprise! It's this. And with the Four of Swords here, there's a need, again, to detach mentally from what you think a happy family looks like, a happy home looks like, what this future you're building looks like. I think that there's a need to really let spirit intervene and you know, again, allow change. And I love the affirmation. I started saying it like a month or two ago. Like, ooh, okay. I invite spirit to surprise me while answering my prayers. All right. All right, I can't get that card off the floor, but it's the Knight of Swords, and we also had the Knight of Cups fall out, and on the bottom of the deck we have Strength. Okay? So, I think though you will be surprised that in the future, you will hear from these people, and they will have loving, they will turn around, like they're whatever their fucking story is about this now, especially if this is a Leo. Or again, we have, oh my God, right behind that again, we have the King of Wands. So if this is a fire sign person that you're waiting for their approval, right, especially if it's a parental type figure or something, or a co-parent, right, someone that you co-parent with, they may not approve now, but they will. They will come around. I do feel like they will come around. But you have to just relax. Relax your mind, because you will and can manifest your worst fears if you want to. Okay, Scorpio? So, yes, you may not be over all of it right away when you do the move. When you make the move, I don't think you'll be over it all right away. I think you'll be kind of sad that, like, they weren't completely on board. But have faith. Okay, they will turn around. Knight of Cups, Knight of Swords, they will come through with a swift, loving message for you, okay? And I do think that it will surprise you, right? Because the Tower is surprising. That's Uranus. It's the energy of Uranus, in my opinion, especially when it's retrograde. So know that the future is so much bigger than you can even imagine, and really rest your mind and meditate on not exactly what you want in a like, I want this person, this person, and this person, just like a feeling. Like, what do you want your future to feel like? Okay, what do you want your home in your life to feel like? And that's what you need to attach to. Okay, that's, when it comes to manifestation, all you can attach to is the feeling of it, how it feels. You guys are my longest reading yet. I gotta shut up. I have a, this is so great. I have a wonderful relationship with my friends, family members, and coworkers. I am appreciated. I am safe when I express my feelings. I can be serene in any situation. So, I feel like that perfectly sums up everything I just said to you guys. I hope you found resonance in this message, Scorpio, and I'll be back in September with your love readings. Peace.